It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you, for the purposes of some personal reflections, the granddaughter and namesake of Clare Boothe Luce and a Policy Institute board member, Clare Luce. Who better to give us insight into the great lady that our organization celebrates than our dear friend and dedicated conservative all the way from California, the lovely and gracious Clare Luce.
Oh, my goodness. It is a pleasure to be here on this very auspicious occasion. It's actually quite amazing that it's been 20 years since Michelle Easton launched the Clare Boothe Luce Policy Institute, and I know the Institute's work to reward ratio remains as daunting as ever, not to mention being a recent target of President Obama's ruthless IRS. As Clare would have said, no good deed goes unpunished. But seeing all that the Institute aims for and accomplishes, she would have had more to say than just that. 2 decades of mentoring young conservative women, bolstering the next generation of female leaders, she would be so proud to see her name and spirit, her legacy of leadership carried on here, just as I am. Clare Boothe Luce was my grandmother, my namesake, and my mentor. I started traveling with her in 1979, sometimes for business, but most of the time for a little business and a lot of pleasure. What a luxury and a privilege. Long hauls on airplanes, trains, and cars gave us uninterrupted time to cover the world, and a world of subjects. As William F. Buckley once said, there is no subject on which Clare Boothe Luce cannot illuminate. She certainly lit up my thinking, as she did many others. You can take Harvard and Yale. I matriculated at the University of Clare Boothe Luce. There was less football, however, but there was everything else. Our conversations covered it all: politics, history, scuba diving, art, religion, communism, needlepoint, espionage, diplomacy, and one of her great favorites, Star Wars. No, not the movie. I mean President Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI. Her bright blue eyes would sparkle whenever she discussed the ingenious technology behind SDI. More than anything, Clare had a great appreciation for American ingenuity and invention. She marveled that in the early part of the 20th century, the typical mode of transportation was horse and buggy. But by mid-century, we had a man on the moon. How thrilled she would be today to see cars that don't need drivers, phones that can screen for eye disease, and computers you can wear. But especially to see women and girls around the world in positions of power or getting there. Of course, as a woman, she knew the path to progress could be rocky. Because I am a woman, Clare said in 1942, decades before Margaret Thatcher and Indira Gandhi, I must make unusual efforts to succeed. If I fail, no one will say she doesn't have what it takes. They will say women don't have what it takes. Haven't we all felt that at some point? Indeed, I bet even the amazing Michelle Easton would say so too. But boy, does she have what it takes. Michelle is a woman after Clare's heart, one who has tirelessly dedicated herself to bolstering other women and with conservative principles. Clare believed that we are capable of fulfilling our dreams without compromising our femininity or forfeiting our core values. She would be so proud of the impact the Clare Boothe Luce Policy Institute has had on a generation of young conservative women and will have on generations to come. Congratulations from all of us, Michelle, for your countless good deeds, And thank you for continuing to honor my grandmother's memory in such a thoughtful and world-changing way. Thank you.